What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 massively underrated digital nomad locations, or not even digital nomad locations, just underrated places that could be interesting to you, whether that's for short term or long term. And some of these places I kind of have been gatekeeping, so shh. But before we get into that, smash like button. It costs you nothing, means the world to me. It really helps me out with the algorithm. And if you're interested in more content like this, then consider subscribing to the channel. Now, with all that good stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and get on into the topic at hand. So we are not going to pull any punches, and we are going to start out with an absolute haymaker, and this is generally going to be the north of Spain, but specifically Bilbao. So this is kind of a place that I mentioned maybe once or twice on the channel, but I would say for the most part I have been a little bit gatekeeping it because most of the attention goes to Madrid or Barcelona or Malaga, Marbella, Valencia, but the most underrated region, in my personal opinion, of Spain, and maybe in the entire world, I don't know, I'd have to think about that a little bit more, is the north of Spain. So you are going to get extremely great value for your money. Obviously it's Spain, so you get good food, good weather, beaches, and all that you could ever ask for in the north of Spain for a fraction, maybe not a fraction, but for significantly better value than you would get in Valencia or Malaga or Marbella or even Alicante. And I think Marbella or Malaga, Valencia, and Alicante were named like 3 of the best expat cities in the entire world for 2024. But for what it's worth, I think that you can get more value for your money in the north of Spain, and I also think Bilbao is an amazing city, and there's other places in the north of Spain that you could check out, but Bilbao is one that I would highly recommend. Also, many of you know I am very partial to Madrid, but that isn't really a hidden gem, whereas I think Bilbao a little bit more virgin in the sense of the tourism world. Next, I would have to go with a place that I've been talking about quite a bit recently on my channel, and that is going to be Albania. Albania has great food, relatively safe, great weather, great location, also on the Mediterranean, so you get access to Italy, Greece, visa-free access for Americans for up to a year, which is a very strong point, especially in comparison to the place that I just mentioned. If you're looking to stay long-term in Spain, first of all, the taxes are not ideal. Probably not ideal in Albania, but I'm not familiar with their tax regime and situation. But it is also a little bit more difficult to stay in Spain long term. You're probably looking at like a non-lucrative visa. I think they have a digital nomad visa, but I think the non-lucrative is probably a better option if I'm recalling correctly off the top of my head. And so once again, having that visa-free access in Albania gives it a little bit of a leg up. And I do think it has probably better food, although Spain is probably a little bit better for healthcare reasons, and the infrastructure is certainly better in Spain, but Albania is in a positive trajectory. And for you single guys, I would also say that Albania may not be the easiest option for dating because it is about 50% Muslim, 50% other religions. Doesn't really matter, but generally the culture is less Western, less woke, less Americanized, if you will. So it's not as much of a hookup culture and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I actually think that's a good thing, but to each their own. If you're looking for a hookup culture, probably not going to find these in most of the places that I am talking about. Then finally, this is actually a place I haven't been yet, so I can't really speak on it too much, but it is a place that is on my list to get to this year. And the reason it's actually on this list is because I've heard nothing but great things about this place from everyone that I have ever come into contact who has been to this place. And it is also a place that I was this close to going when I was recently in Italy. My plans kind of fell through because I was going to have a local girl that I met in Poland actually show me around her hometown. and a place called Hammamet. And if you don't know where that is in the country of Tunisia. So I was going to look into Tunis and Hammamet. And I hear the food is excellent. It's obviously really close to Italy, so you have a really good climate. I hear it is safe, especially in the non-border areas. I believe there's 90-day visa-free access for United States citizens. It is a country located in the northeast of Africa. And so that is a place that is extremely interesting to me, and possibly a place that could be extremely underrated, especially because you're getting that Mediterranean vibe for a fraction of the cost. At least that is what I have heard. So I don't have any experience there. If any of you have any experience, then feel free to leave that down below. Now, as I previously mentioned, I did hear that this is a bit more of a non-hookup culture. I will say that all of the women that I have seen from Tunis, and the woman I met in Poland from there, and all her friends, absolutely gorgeous. And they had like amazing curves, like olive colored skin, or like peanut butter colored skin. Shout out Jason Whitlock if you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. A bit more modest and traditional, because it is a majority Muslim country, I believe. Do not quote me on that. But with that said, you don't need to worry about, if you're a female, for example, you don't need to worry about having like a shawl or a face covering or things like that. Although some of the locals do. The women that, or the woman that I met from there and her friends weren't like hardcore practicing, but they are definitely, let's just say, more modest. Like their Instagrams, they aren't showing themselves and things like that. When they're at the beach, they're covered up. And like I said, that's just a bit more traditional. So once again, if you're looking for like amazing nightlife hookup culture, probably not the place to go. But if you're looking for long-term roots, building great connections, friendships, or something more than that, and maybe even finding a wife, it seems like a really interesting place. Not to mention beautiful beaches, great food, safe, and what I've heard, the people are extremely friendly and nice. So those are going to be 3 underrated places, I guess, in Europe for digital nomads in 2025. Now, with all that said, leave your comments down below. Let me know anything more about Tunisia if you've been there, specifically Tunis and Hammamet. Probably not saying either of those places right. But with all that said, we're going to wrap up the video. Thank you for watching. I truly, truly appreciate it. And I will see you guys very, very soon. And as always, peace, much love.